Matthew 18, Jesus tells a parable about a servant who owes his master a great debt that he can't pay. And he begs of his master to have patience. And the master has compassion on him and forgives him and even erases the debt. And so this servant leaves. He's obviously feeling light and joy. And then he comes across somebody who owes him money and he grabs him by the throat. And, I always read that parable and thinking, how could the guy do that? I mean, what a terrible person. And in the end, his master finds out. And his master was angry and delivered him to the torturers until he should pay all that was due to him. And then Jesus said that, he says, so my heavenly Father also will do to you, if each of you from his heart does not forgive his brother his trespasses. And to be honest, I only really understood that parable, when I was newly born again, had also just experienced this forgiveness of the Lord, this burden of sin lifted and walking in this wonderful joy and peace. And then we found ourselves in Bible school, and we're in a place with lots of different people, lots of different cultures, backgrounds. And pretty soon you realize that the plan of God is not just for yourself. It wasn't just for me, but the Lord is building his people, and he's forming a spiritual house. And very often he uses our brothers and our sisters to expose the motivations of our heart, to help us to grow. And there was a particular brother that, I don't know why, but we just seemed to clash all of the time. And there was one Sunday in church, I was kind of standing near the back, this kind of turmoil inside of me, struggling to worship the Lord, just as the parable says, that he was delivered to the torturers. And somehow, because I'd had this problem with a brother, I was realizing that this was affecting my relationship with the Lord. And there he was, worshiping the Lord with all of his heart. And suddenly my heart just sank, and I realized, Lord, I'm the one with the problem here. He's there, he's free, he's worshiping the Lord, but I'm stuck here with an issue in my heart. And I could have done one or two things. I could have just avoided him and hopefully, just kind of brush things over. But I knew that somehow this was a guy I was going to be serving the Lord with, and the Lord needed to do a miracle. So I went to the bathroom, and as I was coming out, this brother walks in, and I knew that the Lord was giving me an opportunity. And so I just shared my heart with him. I repented. And, I realized that forgiving from our heart, as it says in this parable, is a tough thing to do. And it costs us something, because it's a lot easier if I just said something to him, or I'd kicked him in the shin and I just said, look, I'm sorry for doing that. I'm sorry for saying that. But when we've got an attitude towards somebody, it's very hard to humble ourselves. But I tell you, the Lord is so faithful, and he miraculously restored that relationship. And it wasn't like the next day we were completely different people. I'm sure we were still both doing things that would have irritated each other in the past, but somehow the Lord had connected us in a new way and had done a miracle in my heart. And I encourage you that in church, we always have conflict with people. But the Lord uses those things. He uses those frustrations. He uses the hurts. He uses the injustices, and he helps to build us into a spiritual house. So don't run away from those things, but trust the Lord that as we forgive others, he also forgives us, and we can walk in complete freedom, owing nothing to anybody except love.